Hear he, hear he. King of
Hey.
the thrones, Roberts is here. We are not worthy. We are not worthy.
Hello. Please don't kneel.
We are not worthy. We are not worthy. Oh, we got a little bit of a Super Bowl delay. Sorry, Janet. Too late.
It's my nipple.
Oh shit! It is the nipple. Why? Right? I didn't even notice that you were like semi-naked, and I said that Janet joke. Perfect. Perfect timing. Perfect timing.
I guess you're the Justin to my Janet.
Hey, hold on. Which era, Justin? Are we in the Twilight 2020?
Okay.
Are we the man stuck in the woods?
With perfect segue, let us return to Westeros.
We are.
To many eons ago. Many eons ago.
Fun
Okay.
fact, guys, Robert was going medieval on the Christmas music before we got here, so that means it's going to be a great episode.
That's right. Dun, 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 ba, 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 ba.
Felt like we were in Home Alone.
Okay. I got that for you. So, hey, how's it going? How are you feeling in the kingdom here?
I'm good. I'm very grateful. I love talking about TV. This is one of my favorite shows. You're my favorite co-host. What more could be said? What more do I need?
Right. Yeah. How did the last episode make you
Actually, I'm
feel?
your co-host on this, so I'm happy to
We're
be here.
always co-hosts.
That's true. That's true. You're right. You're right. You're right. No, but you did a great job. The first episode, everybody loves watching this. Let's do it, man. You prepare a
Yeah.
great program for this.
I'm excited. Let me just ask right off the bat, how did this episode leave you feeling? Like, did you walk away? I know that we talked a little bit last week how the viewership is kind of down, but did you feel like more invested like as each episode comes?
Yeah, I don't try to look too deep into numbers anymore because you know Nielsen and all them. It's all convoluted a little bit sometimes. All of the Billboard, they're all like a machine. Um, but I always see House of the Dragon on social media. I always see clips on YouTube. It's the number one trending. I mean, obviously HBO has their own numbers, but I love it. I try to look at these shows. We watch so much TV now that like I look at it in a formulaic way now, and especially that we know that it's what is like 8 episodes this year or 7 or something like that. Way too low, of course, but it's
Yeah,
very expensive
maybe
to make.
10. Is it 10? Because
Is
I
it
think
10? That's a
oh
lot.
no,
That's
you might
great.
be right with 8. I don't know.
Well, that'd be great. But the last one had very short episodes, and I think I think even when they ended, they said that the new season was that going to have shorter episodes. I could be
Hmm.
wrong, but anyway, sometimes when I see these things whether it's 10 or there's 8, when it gets to like the second or third episode, I look at it as like a 3-act play, and so like they kind of like wrapped up. So this one wasn't as action packed. A lot of prosthetic limbs, a lot of full frontal nudity, whether it was team small dick energy and big prosthetic energy. But I really enjoyed it. I love the show. I love it. It doesn't have to be every episode doesn't have to be like killing and chopping off people's heads and shit. Sometimes the strategy is just as interesting.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'll say for me, I'm just like each episode gets me more pumped because it's like even going from the momentum built from last season, I'm just like so ready for this dance of the dragons. I mean, everything it just like more and more keeps unraveling every episode, and I think they're doing a great job of getting us more invested with the characters that exist. So I'm excited. I'm excited. So let's dive right in, shall we? We got a couple of things that happened right off the bat. I thought that it did that. The show did that kind of. They always talk about in writing or like in shows the show don't tell, but this one they set up a battle and then they just showed you what happened. Like everybody was dead
Yeah, I was
on the
confused.
field,
I was
right?
glad I
So
didn't see that live because I had to rewind that.
okay, so the episode starts with the Battle of the Burning Mill. If you know, you know. And we witnessed the aftermath of the brutal battle between the Brackens and the Blackwoods, and it
Mhm.
showcases the war's devastation. Um, So, these guys meet up in the beginning. They're like, "Hey, are you moving my stones?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, they moved the stones so they could graze there." And like, this is Blackened territory. Um, and yeah, so you just see this like torn apart war zone, and people reference like what it might have looked like Civil War style, like historically, um, giving some context to that. Um, so I don't know, how did that opening just make you feel?
I thought it was great. Again, I'm glad I didn't see it live because I was a little confused when I saw the sword in the guy's neck. I didn't think it was the same guy that was. He wasn't getting bullied. Was he getting bullied? Did you consider that getting bullied?
No, they were both trying to talk shit.
That's what I thought. Even though like he was outnumbered, but you're right. That's why sometimes when there's like multiple people, it feels like bullying, but it wasn't. I enjoyed that, and I thought it was a great setup for. We are a spoiler alert show anyway. I was going to be like, no
Yep.
spoilers. Like wait until the end until we get there. But it really set up the whole scenario with Damon and him getting over there post war, post Civil War, and seeing how desperate they are to restore and to raise an army because they're literally going to a dead city, a dead kingdom, and a dead castle in order to raise an army, and that just shows like where Rhaenyra, which we're all rooting for Rhaenyra, I think, but she's got an uphill battle for sure.
Right. Okay. So, the burning mill is one thing, but then, as the geeks that we are, we noticed the updated credits. Did you like catch any of the new things that they added to it?
You know what? I have never been into that shit. And you know what's so funny?
Okay.
Somebody told me, I think my brother, because it was so long, and I was like, fuck this. So I was like fast forward. I'm not a big fan unless it's a really dope theme song. The last dope theme song I really liked was Yellow Jackets. But most of the time they
Wait,
suck.
okay, I'll ask. I don't want to go to a different show, so I won't ask
Oh
my
my bad,
question.
my bad. Right, different network too. But no, like even Power has a great theme song with Joe and all that. But otherwise, if it's not good, I usually fast forward. So years later, my brother, I was fully into the original Game of Thrones, and my brother goes, "Oh yeah, they add like a new city or a new like town, the city. They add like a new city every episode or like every time they
Right.
introduce something." I was like, "No way!" And I looked at it, I was like, "Holy shit!" So I'm not surprised. I still don't watch it, but I believe you.
Yeah, like this week they added Jacaerys's beheading. Yeah, they show like him laying in the in like just laying down, and then they show like a stream of blood go across his neck. So it's pretty gruesome and a lot of blood, and gory
Are
action.
you
So
okay
that's
with this? Are you okay with this? Me showing visuals?
yeah, do it. Yeah,
Great.
there's that battle. That battle at the burning mill. It was pretty interesting. Yeah, I thought that was I don't know. I wish they would have made me a little bit more invested in those characters before everybody just died. I'm like, oh, maybe
Right,
we'll see more from them, and then something. Like I
right.
feel like
Like
they should have
Walking
showed
Dead.
them
It's like Walking Dead meets Sopranos. Like, wait, wait.
right. So yeah, that was a little bit, but yeah. So I didn't want to leave out the updated credits. That was cool. And then yeah, so one of the things that was going on, they buried the twins, Eric and Arik, right?
Oh, that was so sad. I really liked them.
I know, right? I was like, oh, the guys, they're gone. Um, and they talk about how it'll sully. Jacaerys says, his brother sullies his grave. Um,
Yeah. Oh yeah, and they
and
were putting the dirt over. Yeah, that was crazy. That part.
yeah, and I think Rhaenyra says something about you can't fault him for keeping his oath. Because he ended up killing himself and all that. So it's a lot. But in that same scene, Renice mentions, they're talking, well, right after Renice is giving some consolation to Rhaenyra, and they're discussing like what's gonna happen next. And I did write down a line, where Renice is just like, Oda would never have allowed this, this action that they took, where like they send a freaking assassin. It's like I think of Kill Bill. It's like we've done everything to this woman, and we're not gonna kill her in her sleep like, like rats.
Yeah.
Exactly like rats. Like they did to, to the baby Jaharis, like rats, no honor. Um,
Oh man,
so,
did you see that? Did you see that crow nipping at its eye? The rat
oh,
catcher.
the rat catcher.
That was
Yeah.
crazy. Great scene. And
Yeah,
I
that
like
was
how they
good.
kept that like there was he did not win, and that's I love how they like doubled down on that. Like not only did they hang him, it was so not worth it because now he's got like the whole city's watching a fucking raven just claw at his eyeball. That was really cool. Good makeup job on that one too.
Right? Yes. And we do da, 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 da. Another line that I loved, right, when Rhaenyra was getting advice from Rhaenys, Rhaenyra ends it by saying, "Her son sits on my throne. There's nothing more to be said." you know? And it's just like, it looked like she thought about it for a second. And then she was just like, you know what? At the end of the fucking day, she did usurp me. She's like, after saying how she supported me, now all of a sudden her son just sits on the throne. So what the hell else am I going to say about this? Like, it's war, you know?
I sorry to cross shows again. You ever seen the? Oh no, I think we already said this. You didn't see the show The Great, right?
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
So Catherine had an aunt that was supposed to take over the throne after her brother. Same
Okay.
situation. I think they copied off of this, to be honest. And that didn't end up happening, but she ended up being like her number one confidant. And the same thing with Renice. I love their relationship. Renice
Yeah.
is the better, more seasoned queen, the better monarch. She probably not the better monarch, but she probably would be the more sensible pick to be that. But and we're not talking about today's Joe Biden. We're talking about like 10 years ago Joe Biden, like being an advisor to Obama. You need like if you're gonna have such a young queen, you need somebody experienced to give you that advice. You need a good counsel. Hightower was like that for Alicent and Aegon, and that shit confuses me too. By the way, I'm so happy that I'm not in monarchy where like I have to keep like even like Prince Charles and all them like King Elizabeth II. And like, god damn, get some fucking original names. Like, stop fucking making everybody Aegon and Daenerys. Like,
Right. Yeah.
holy shit. But she's one of my favorite characters. I really love her wisdom. I love how she stands by Rhaenyra. I love how she keeps it real. And she even keeps it real with the husband all the time. She keeps it 100 every time, every second of the episodes.
Right. And well, while you have the picture up there, she does talk to her husband about, some things that went on, and he was saying that he pretty much would have preferred one of the sons to take over as opposed to, was it Reina?
They all
There.
do.
And it's like, and then, it's that famous line of his, I believe it's his, where he's like, history doesn't remember blood, it remembers names, so that they've been one of the channels, I think,
Ain't
heavy
wrong.
spoil, right, but I think it was Heavy Spoilers channel pointed out that like they even used that in the promotion for the finale for season 1, that line,
Mm-hmm.
um so it's like that theme keeps coming back, so there's a lot of, I feel like wheels turning and treachery in the background for sure in this show. Like people saying some fucked up shit behind people's back. Like, well, history doesn't remember blood, it remembers names. It's like, hey, are you talking about me? You're gonna like put someone else over me, So it's like, I don't know. And I love seeing Rhaenys in any scene. So I'm like, I'm glad. Give me more of her. So seeing her with her husband, I thought that was pretty sweet. I felt like I was waiting for that shot or that setup, like where they are, to pay off a little bit more.
Yeah.
Usually there's a metaphor there, and I'm sure there's something there to this, like you can come up with like, I guess that's some kind of boating something. I don't know, maybe where they put the ship on top, and I don't know what the hell that is.
Well, you
But
could. Oh, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
oh no, I'm just saying, like, I feel like there's some kind of metaphor there with that setting that's supposed to like kind of tell us probably where we are or where they are, as a couple.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's an interesting thing, but I didn't get it. And then she's on top of a stool so that she can look up like
Ah,
the.
that's a great observation. I didn't even think of that. That is very true. Actually, I might have thought about it like when it was happening, but I totally agree with you. They definitely did that on purpose. And I don't even remember what his name was, but the guy that owns the sea in the Game of Thrones, obviously it's not this guy. It's not the Valerian. It's not the Targaryens. So you could tell that even though it was like hundreds of years, no, not hundreds. I think it was like almost 200 years before Daenerys was born. So you could tell that his hubris, the fact that again the Sea King doesn't look anything like these motherfuckers. You could tell that they lost control of it, and they don't own the seas in the Game of Thrones series. So that's another one that should have listened to Rhaenys, to be honest. Rhaenys probably could have kept that lineage going and could have kept them owning the Navy, their version of the Navy.
Right. So let's get back to what's happening at the Red Keep, right? So we know there's some conversations being had, and we do see Mr. Christian Cole. He's there, and what was it? I wrote down delusional. You know, they're talking to Aegon, and he's like, I thought one of the funny lines he said was, "I'm as fierce as any of them," and everybody's just like, "Oh, let me sip my water at this time," because they didn't want to let him down. Because he's talking about, they're talking about their plan to get to Harrenhal, and he's like, I should go on the dragon, and everybody's looking at him like, you want to get on the dragon, And I just thought it was so funny that Aegon thinks he's like someone that should be going into war, and he's not war trained at all. Very delusional. Just because he has the dragon, he feels like he'll be safe. I'm like, they'll probably shoot him with an arrow the first chance they get, and he's gone. And they're like, yeah, maybe not a good idea.
I have a question. Did Joffrey, King Joffrey in the original Game of Thrones, I know he had Baratheon blood. Did he have Targaryen blood too? No, he just said, no, Cersei.
He's a Lannister.
So he was Lannister and Baratheon. Ah, gotcha. Yeah. Or not even.
Or not Baratheon.
He was a bastard. Yeah, he was a bastard. Who was the father?
Jaime.
Oh, incest. I forgot. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But he reminds me of that. Aegon, he reminds me of that. And he reminds me of the Conqueror. And he reminds me, who's the other one? The one that basically was the worst of them all. The one that Daenerys kept referring to as her father. He's and that was the one that they all like united to kill him. And that's why the throne got to Baratheon, right? Anyway, they do that all the time, man. These like kings, most of them, they think that they're bigger than they are. They think they're like God anointed and shit like that. And you're right. That motherfucker, he's so small too. He's like a little fucking pipsqueak. He has like no muscles. He doesn't even have a muscle in his nose. Like, what I'm saying? Well, it's all cartilage anyway. But still, my point is he's a little bitch.
Right.
I would put money on Helena before I put money on him.
Oh, man. Okay. So we move on to Daemon, right? On Caraxes arriving to Harrenhal. And that was pretty sweet. I wrote down, that they really built the tension so well with the way, like, he lands in this thunderous storm, and he lands atop the tower, and he just I think they referenced that's where Aegon the First burned, like, his dragon fire actually burned that fucking tower. So yeah, so it was just like so wonderfully done. Like, he lands on it, it's like so epic, like the dragon's roaring, the rain is going, the thunder, the lightning, and then he's creeping through the hall. You see people running. First of all, this show very much showed the cowardice of people. People are like, no, I'm out. I'm getting the fuck out of here.
For real.
Yeah. So, and then he's just creeping through the halls. And it's just like, is anyone?
That was creepy. And the fact that he had no gun, he just had like a fucking sword. Like, I was like this. I was like, damn, man. I wish I was in that seat. I'm like, damn, why does Daemon not have a gun? And then I forgot we were in medieval times.
Yeah, this episode did make me think about guns for some reason too. You're not.
Where's the NRA when George R. Martin? Why did you put the NRA in there, man? What happened?
Right. But you know, this scene in particular did make me think about like watching him walk around in that helmet. I would be more scared walking around that helmet than anything because it's like, you know, you have a very limited field of vision. So it's like you're trying to turn, it's like Batman, right? Like trying to
Yeah.
turn every which way because you don't know, like someone could be right here and you're just not
Who
seeing it.
tried? Who tried to get in his room? That was fucking creepy too. When he had the sword on the
Okay,
fucking door, I was
so we,
confused.
yes, we'll definitely get into that.
Oh, my bad, my bad.
Let's
I didn't know we were
cover.
going to
We'll
order.
we'll do all the Damon stuff in one shot. We'll discuss that. But so you know he goes through and then he eventually finds he finds everyone there. He's like, I'm taking over, and they're like, it appears you are, and they put no fight up. They offer him fucking venison soup, and he's like, hope you didn't poison me. And they're like, no, we're
Oh,
not
the
gonna do that.
peas. He said the peas.
Right,
And
right.
actually, that is a common way. You can make fucking poison out of peas, so that does make sense.
Simon Strong, right? Simon Strong, he pledges allegiance, and he
Mm-hmm.
calls Laris, the club foot. He says he's a scourge. You know. Um.
Scourge.
Yep. Uh. Getting up. Bestowed on me. What a getting ascent. Okay, the gods have bestowed on you. Oh yeah, that's what this one. I won't get into that yet. But and keeping on Damon, so then there is a scene later where he's talking to Simon Strong, and he's like, Simon makes the mistake of saying Prince, and then he's like, Your Grace, you know?
Yeah,
And I'm like, that's interesting, you know, that he's gonna go for it with that, because you know that's gonna come up later, and Rhaenyra's gonna hear it, and she's like, What the hell is that, bro? Like,
for real.
you know.
Watch your fucking mouth. Watch your fucking mouth. Not you, Robert. You're fine. But
Oh
no, watch your mouth. Watch your mouth.
yeah, no, it's true. I'm like, he is devious, you know. He's not as straightforward. Like I think Rhaenyra was right to question his loyalty, you know, like
She should
he'll
have
get
thought about that before he entered his niece's vagina.
right. And then, you know, talking about your question, so we do see what I believe her name is Allison Rivers is the character's name, who's the witch who we see outside of the castle, who tells Damon, you will die here, you know. She in the book, from what I understand, is a witch. I'm not gonna give any spoilers, but she is a witch. I'll just say that. And I guess she's warning him of what could happen if he stays on this path. And yeah, and so he does have this dream where we see our girl Millie Alcock return cameo. And it's so funny. I was just talking about this last week. Like, will we see the original girls come back for any scenes? Like I was saying, I need them. I need to see my
Oh yeah, they
girls
did do a
back.
flashback. They
And I'm
did do a
like, oh my
flashback.
god. Yeah, and I thought that was pretty cool. And to see her, she's there sitting there sewing the head of Jaharis. I'm
Oh
like,
yeah,
that was pretty
they are
gruesome.
very they are very focused on that. By the way, they keep like whoever did that, like the film crew that worked on that prosthetic. They're very proud of it because they keep showing it. I'm
Right.
like so overseeing the kid with like his sutured fucking neck.
Right. Um, and yeah, so you know, we'll go on. So that's pretty much I feel like sums up everything that happens with Damon. He's over there, right? And he's just I guess he's gonna be getting ready to troops um for that. And it's like one thing to point out is that's such a big fucking place, Harrenhal. So it's like it's almost in some ways handicap having such a big place because when you have to fill it completely, you know, it's like you need a lot of amenities, you need a lot of like goods to to maintain your armies if you're in the fucking Harrenhal. But you know, it's a strategic place, you know. It's their, you know, it's their Israel they got going
But
on.
back in those days, like it didn't matter. Like Damon said, if I bring a dragon, they'll get their fucking ass in gear. Back then, they only lived for monarchies. They only like looked at them as examples. and their lives are fucking mundane otherwise. Like they really, I know like we're ruled by a republic at the moment without getting into too deep into real life, but over there like they really relied on republics. Like that was like the only way they survived. Hey, king consort, we know, hell yeah, lose mama lose. We all know Laris is up to no good. Damn right he is. But you called it. You called it. And I love your emojis. You have really great emojis.
um. Okay. So we know that what's it called? Allison's brother, he joins up right with Kristen Cole, and he's like comes off like the punk from out of town who's like not the punk, he's like the snobby kid from college that he's like, and he's literally looking down on um Kristen Cole, and that was, I thought it was interesting seeing him go out to the, into the field with the guys, right? That he like worked his way into it, and he observed his sister giving that cloth to Kristen. Did you peep that? He was watching.
The little Desdemona cloth. We saw that. Yes, we did. She a little freak.
Yes.
She a little
Yeah.
freak. She
But
should,
he.
like I thought it was gonna be her panties, but I forgot that they do leave the handkerchief. Like, but I was like, I thought she was like at a Drake concert. Like,
Now, do you feel okay? What do you think is going through Allison's mind with Kristen Cole now being the hand? Do you feel like she's uncomfortable with the change in like power positions between them?
absolutely, absolutely. She was looking at him just as a piece of ass, and it just is spiraled. It's just avalanched into something else. Um, that's the same thing I said last week. Like everybody bit off more than they could chew. Otto Hightower thought something like, let me ride with this, and then he's like, damn, I shouldn't have. And the same thing with Allison. Allison, I think this whole time internally is regretting everything she's done to support her son being king. And we'll get to the part you'll bring that up later, but she just this show is all about, especially that we know the ending. Like it's going to take, I think, like 4 seasons. They said, right? We know the
At
ending,
least,
but
yeah.
they have to double down on their stances. They have to keep leaning into getting into this war, no matter what.
Right.
And
Right.
yes, he does not deserve it either. He's not even a good soldier. They
Well,
they literally let that king, that little Jaharis king, the heir to the throne. If they were not fucking, if he was not eating that week long medieval box,
oh my God.
the king he would have been alive. We wouldn't have to see his fucking sutured head every episode now.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think so. On that note, because you mentioned that, let's just talk about the scene with Helena and Allison, right? Where she
I love
says
Helena.
to yeah, where she says to Allison, I forgive you. And Allison looks like she stepped back a little bit, but at the same time, she she I feel like interprets that she's forgiving her for what she did with Kristen Cole. That, essentially, if he wasn't there, if he would have been protecting her, then maybe her son would be alive. I think Allison kind of took it that way, but there's a possibility there's something Helena's forgiving her for that she hasn't even done yet. You know,
Uh, could you expand on that a little more? Because
because
I have my
yeah.
own thought on that, but go ahead.
Mhm. Yeah, because the show does a really good job of kind of like misdirecting you, and where you might think, oh, first of all, we know that she's a dreamer, like a dragon dreamer, or whatever you call it. If you, well, I think it was the Heavy Spoilers channel and a bunch of other channels, were breaking down some of the Easter egg Screen Crush, that was
A lot of
going
Easter
on.
eggs.
Yeah, and they were talking about the Easter eggs on the walls of Helena's room that was once Allison's room, but now she's the queen, so she has that, and Allison has Rhaenyra's old room. And she has pictures up of like like Robert's rebellion. She has Daenerys coming through the flames, giving birth to the dragons. So she's kind of having like her three-eyed raven moment where she's
Yeah,
seeing everything.
Raven. True,
Right. She
true.
sees everything, because she even referenced, she knew that her son was gonna die instinctively because she was there sewing the blanket that they were gonna put on top of his casket. She was sewing that before he died, you know? And that's why when she tosses it to him, the one that she was same cloth that she was sewing, she said, "This is for my son, this is for him." So
Mm,
she
good
sees
point.
things. So that's why I think it could be a misdirect. Like there could be something else that Allison does that may put Helena in danger that we don't know what it could be yet. But I think, what are your thoughts?
I disagree, but you have a very good point. They do like to misdirect, so I could definitely be wrong. But I agree with Mama Lou's. I do think it was about the son. But I have one question before I get into it. Do you think she knew that they were sleeping together, and that's why her son died?
Do I think Helena knew?
Do she? So, do you think Helena knew where Kristen? What's his name?
Kristen Cole?
Kristen Cole. Do you think that do you think that she just knew that he was not at his post, or do you think not only did she know that he was not at where he was supposed to be, that he was in his mother's room, his chambers?
Well, I think overall, I think Helena, the same way Bran got uploaded with everything in all history, I think the writers, they're trying to do the same thing with Helena. Yes, everybody knew, Ma. So, and I think Helena has some of that going on, right? Because they've decided to put these Easter eggs of all these drawings that she has on the wall. We know she sees a lot. So she may be aware of this, but I think she was really going to her mother's room because in some ways she is childlike, and I think she wanted to be near her mother. I don't think whether I don't know, there could have been a part of her that knew, but I think most importantly she just wanted to be like her instinct was to be in my mother's room, like be with my mom to protect me. Like that's what her instinct was. Like she didn't give a shit about Kristen Cole. Like I feel like he was almost invisible in that moment because she like I think Allison tries to say something to her in that moment, and she's like, oh, she's like too panicked, like she doesn't even give a shit about that.
Okay.
That's why I feel like that's so inconsequential to her that I feel like that's not. I feel like that's not what she's forgiving her about. I think there's something she's gonna do that could get Helena in more trouble or get her like somehow screwed up in the game. Because I know from the books, what I've heard is that they say that Helena became someone who doesn't even, after the death of the baby, she doesn't even shower anymore. She was like, just like so, like, just
She
so
kind of
super.
does look like that. She kind of does look like that, though. She doesn't look in her best shape, uh, hygienically on the show either. And in
Right,
that time, they only took baths once a week. So
right.
no,
But,
she definitely could have skipped a week.
but she's more put together. It seemed like she was less like more inconsolable in the book, and this one they're
Uh,
like making her be someone that they can still use her as a prop, right? At the
yeah.
same, like the way they threw use her in the procession. So I don't know. I feel like I think there's something to come with Allison's treachery. We're only getting to episode 4, so I think there's something. There could be cooking up something with that "I forgive you," and I think that they like to pay off, us having those sneaking suspicions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so there's something that came up when I was watching this
Oh,
guy's.
hold up, my bad. I
Tell
was
me,
gonna
tell me.
say so Helena. So I agree. I agree. I still think there's a slight chance she doesn't know for sure, but I see what Mama Luz is saying. Like it's kind of obvious. There's like, and I think and it's weird. I think maybe Aegon's like the only one who doesn't know. I think like everybody else does. So I'm gonna roll with that. But it's so funny that the blondes are like the smartest on this show. Like obviously stereotypically, you know, even with your lovely He-Man, Queen He-Man, Guardians of the Universe outfit you got going on. But blondes do have more fun, and especially on this show. Elena is another real one. She, in my opinion, when she said the part where like how dare I grieve more than these, like, you know, the common people. Like, people die all the time, and this was like historically correct too. They never lived that long, especially infants, especially toddlers. It was lucky that you made it past 10. And once you made it past 10, like, okay, good. Now you're on your own. Now you
Right.
got this. But with Helena, I think she forgave her, not necessarily just for that night, but for everything, like, basically, I don't think she was even down with having sex with her brother. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think, like, just putting her in that position, just putting them in this whole scenario, I think that's where she forgave her, but mostly for getting her son killed, which, again, I don't think she knows specifically that it was like him being at that post, but I know we all know that she had something to do with it from some type of malfeasance.
I wonder. I don't know. I'm just speculating here, right? Because I'm like, what's the ultimate betrayal, right? And we know in the past, like, Mr. Jimmy Moonshine, who's not on today, he mentioned, he's read the books and he says that, Allison,
Watch what you
unlike,
eat, Jimmy. Watch what you eat.
right, he mentioned that Allison in the book is very Cersei, right? And what would
Uh,
right? And it's like, what could someone do to ultimately betray their own daughter, who's the queen? And I'm wondering, like, what if she recommends Aegon to somehow get rid of Helena somehow? I don't know, right? Like, you could like have another son. Like, oh, she won't have the kid, then you
that's a
must
great
take her.
point.
Like, what if she recommends that he like rapes her? I don't know.
Allison is very like Cersei. Like, she loves them very much, but she does not mind making them pawns. And that is
Right.
a very good point. Holy shit. Cersei did the exact same thing. You're right. She did the exact same thing. Anytime there was an opportune moment for one of her kids to step up, she acted like a pageant mom. She acted like one of those fucking, like, Hollywood moms, like Brooke Shields'
Right.
mom.
Right. So I'm like, what if she does something like convinces someone to do something to Helena or something that like puts Helena in danger, maybe makes her look like she was killed. I don't know. But I'm like, maybe there's something more to happen. But speaking of crazy predictions, um, my man Joe Magician on YouTube, everybody look up Joe Magician. He has a great channel. He had a theory on Laris, right? On Laris, Mr. Laris Clubfoot. And one of the first things he talked about was that,
I
first of
hate
all,
that
he
fucker.
believes that they were trying to lead to the idea that Laris allowed the murdering of Jaharis to happen, right? Because he would have known, right? These masters of whispers, they have their little spies everywhere, his little fireflies, as they
I
call
didn't
them.
know. My father loves a gossip. I know,
Right.
hated gossip, but I find myself wanting one myself.
Like, you know so
So,
he
a gossip that
speculated.
loves feet.
Mr. Joe Magician speculated that Laris could have known, and let it all happen because, so they point out a good thing, right? Or like something that was paid off to the fans of us watching when, in the, I believe it was the last episode before they caught Blood, they they're talking about in the small council room, oh, who do we think did it? And as they're saying that, Laris walks into the room, and they frame it in a way where everybody is like angled in a triangle, and he's right in the center of it, but he's not saying anything. He's just walking in very quietly, and they're still talking about who did it, right? But they're specifically framing it in a way to put him at the center of it. And of course, then he's like, "Oh, but we did just capture him, and he was at the gate." And what this man Joe Magician pointed out was that if the writers, they love to do things that pay off for us nerds, and the gate that they mentioned him finding him at is the furthest away from the Red Keep, right? Like when they show the map of the town, it's really far, and it wasn't the gate that he was originally guarding that Damon found him at. And that gate would have been easier, right? Like if you're just
Damon
trying to
found who? You lost me. Damon found who?
blood, blood, as Blood and Cheese killed the baby.
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. Keep going.
So Blood, you remember how he told Blood, like he was at the gate, he gave him the money, he's like, do this, blah blah. He could have went.
Oh
He didn't
yeah.
go back. He didn't go back to that gate. He went back to like the main gate that's really far away. So there was Mr. Joe Magician was speculating they put that specific information in for the nerds at home who know the layout of the town, and we're like, wait, why would he be there? He wouldn't have been there, and Laris didn't even give him. Laris didn't mention any of those specifics to him when he met him. He just had his tools ready to threaten him. We don't know how soon they caught him. They just know he had the head. So they could have been watching him get to wherever. It could have been the other gate actually, and he got him, right? Because he wants to be the hero. Because what happens next? In this episode, Aegon declares him pretty much his master of whispers. You know, so this all helped him position himself for that role. So
Damn, that's a lot of background noise because he was barely even seen when that whole cutting of the head happened, which was gruesome. They need to get an Emmy for the sound. That was nuts. I literally heard the bone crunching in that scene. That was nuts. But no, you have so many valid points. It's just that it was so much in. You have to like kind of imagine these things because they literally didn't show him. He like kind of just showed up last episode after like not really, but like he's barely been around. But you're right. That's like a little 3-year-old. You know what I'm saying? Like when the 3-year-old is all quiet, that's when you got to be like, what the fuck is this kid doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, so
right.
when Laris is quiet, you better beware. You better, yes, exactly. Whisper or lies. And if he's not whispering or lying, he's going off doing something sleazy.
And let's staying on Laris. We know that Aegon was ready to fly out of there, and he tells Aegon that his mother Allison and Aemon were ready to reign in like to like reign in his absence, and that convinces him to stay.
Well, so no, and that definitely happened. And I go back to having so whenever again, not to get too into real life, but whenever you have like a tyrant or you have someone that is like just a big hothead at the helm, the CEO, you get to see the other parts of the administration or the council or the court or the castle. You get to see them step into areas to try to what's it called, to compensate for his misleadership. So they're seeing how erratic Aegon is, and they're like, "Yo, we gotta help him because like if he goes down, we all go down." So I think that Laris is actually the way better hand. If anybody had to replace Otto, it should be Laris. So Laris knows that, and the same thing with Rhaenys. They're not going to try to usurp it. They're just going to try. I read this in 48 Laws of Power. You don't always have to get the title. You don't always have to like, oh, I'm chief of staff or something like that. You don't get chief of staff. The smart people say, yo, let me go behind the scene like Laris is doing and do the work that is supposed to be done. I don't need the title. I'm going to just do what has to be done so I can keep this kingdom afloat. And that's what he's doing. That's what he's doing. He basically is the hand. He basically is the hand now. And in an unofficial capacity because the fucking knight is a piece of shit. He's worthless. He's not even a good knight.
I think we're gonna see Kristen Cole has a pretty good read on people. I think he's gonna see through this possibly this season.
What?
Yeah, like
he doesn't. The same guy. He's like a meathead.
No, he smells bullshit.
This motherfucker almost got burnt up in the forest.
He smells bullshit pretty easily. I think there's one thing that he can see when people are like, I don't see Laris manipulating him. So I feel like if Laris does something in front of him, I feel like he's gonna catch on. I feel like we might see a confrontation between them this season. I feel like with that happening, I don't know what I haven't read the book, but I feel like Laris could be someone who sets up Kristen Cole to finally meet his demise if he does die.
Me too. I think Laris is way smarter than Cole. I think Cole is more of an instinctual. Like if you get him on the battlefield, you're toast. But if you're trying to play chess with him, you can win. You can win because he's not someone who thinks very long form.
Right. Remember that guy? I forget which channel it was, but they were pointing out that guy, I don't know if it was the Master of Coin or it was like he was, I think maybe like the doctor type on Game of Thrones, that he was pretending to be sick and feeble the whole time, like walking real slow, like his back hurt, and then they find him with the prostitutes and everything. And I think Laris is playing up his like, his cane and all that too. I think he's trying to play so nobody suspects him.
Oh, didn't something happen to him though? Didn't something happen in the first season where I don't think he was always like crippled, not crippled, but gimpy.
Well, he's known as
Sorry,
Clubfoot.
Able. Sorry, Able community.
Yeah, he's known as Clubfoot, so I think it is something that it
Okay,
is
okay.
about him. So I don't know. I think his treachery. We haven't. Yeah, there's so much more to come from him. I'd like to hope to think they're gonna keep him around for longer than just this season. But
True.
anybody could go.
I'm ready for the brothel scenes. Are you ready for that? I'm ready for some of that.
You want to discuss? Well, okay. So perfect segue, right? Because we did just talk about the lie. So, but just to finish that up, so he did lie to them. He did lie to Aegon, right, and say that
Mhm.
every Aemon and your mom are planning to reign in your absence, and that made him pause going. So then he starts getting drunk and pissy drunk pretty much the whole rest of the episode, and he ends up at the brothel. And who does he encounter at the brothel? His brother there.
Amen and his micro penis.
Oh, he's looking good, boo.
You're looking good. Oh, you're so
No,
nice.
no penis
Robert
shade.
would be
You
like,
look
just give it
good.
a little pat. Just give it a little pat. Hello, little
Give
guy.
him a little pat there. Very nice. Do your thing, boo. And
Break a leg.
so
Break a leg.
yeah. But you see, his brother was like being a real piece of shit to him. He's like, oh, this is the one that he lost it, and he still likes her. And Eamon like played it off and just was like, a whore is a whore. You can have your turn with her. But you could tell it's much like who was it? Tyrion, that he had that woman. What was the woman? Not Jade, something like that. That he just did.
Wow, that is very true. He did have like a favorite whore, and he did.
Yeah.
That's how I would be, by the way. I hate Aemon, but I was talking to somebody about this show the other day, and I was like, like that's how I would be with a prostitute. I'd be like, no, we don't need to sleep together. Just let me be in a fetal position. But life is
Mommy
hard,
issue.
right? Micro penis is a disease.
You understand, babe?
And especially after you saw so I'm trying to find. They're cheating me right now of the visuals, and I saw some of it. I saw for some reason they're not showing me all of. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get some of the brothel, but I rewound the part with the prosthetic blowjob. I was like,
Oh
what
my
the?
god, yeah. I noticed that. I was like, that
I
has to be a
couldn't believe
prosthetic.
they did that. That was amazing. And then it really did. Amen. If I was the actor, I would have shot my agent. Like, how do you go from that big ass fucking strap on, and then you go to me like just standing up?
Right,
You know what I'm
right.
saying? At least he's in good shape though. I get for some
Yeah.
reason, and not that I'm asking for Aegon to take off his shirt. He looks pudgy. He looks very flabby. Like maybe
Oh,
he
Aegon?
has body in real life, but the way they dress him up, he does not look in shape at all. But Aemon, even though again he doesn't have a great kickstand, he's definitely in shape.
Oh, maybe his kickstand might kick a little more when it stands.
I'm more of a performer. I'm more of a shower than a grower than a shower.
Hey,
Than a grower.
I ain't mad at the boy. But so that imagery, so it was interesting. I think my girl Grace Randolph, she was mentioning that that we were gonna have some possible nudity in this episode, and something she said was that she felt like it didn't pay, like we didn't know this character enough to be invested in like this nude shot from him. And when I mentioned that to Mr. Jimmy Moonshine, he was like, well, did we know Daenerys when we saw her getting effed by, Drago? And it's like,
Oh, I'm actually really happy about that. That there's way less fucking rape in this show. Like, again, I think I like this show better. Game of Thrones original is better, but I like this better because they learned from all their mistakes in the first one, not mistakes, or like they knew what the sweet parts were. And unless you're really sick out there and you like watching rape, I'm glad they pretty much eliminated that. Like, there's literally almost nobody getting raped in these scenes, and it's not entertaining. It's not entertaining. It's not funny. So yeah, but like that was hardcore, and it's big in the book though. It's big in the book, so you have to adapt it in there. But Daenerys, even though like I still rooted against her at the end, she like I never really rooted for her. I followed her. There's a lot of people that were big fans of her, but she went through a lot, so I did not blame how hardened she was by the end.
Right. But when it comes to the nudity, what did you feel like about the show choosing? Did it feel like, oh, that's a weird choice, or it feels like, oh, whatever? Did it make you feel any kind of way that they chose to like have this moment with him, or what did it make you feel like when you saw that he did that? Like, what did it make you feel about like the context of his character, rather doing that?
Which one? Which who? Aegon or
Like
Aemon?
uh well, both. What did you feel like was going on, and the fact that he stood up naked there? What do you feel like was going on in that moment in his head, or both of their heads?
Well, he's always trying to prove something. He was the runt before he got scratched on the eye. He was still the runt until he got the dragon. The dragon's the only way that people got to pretend that he had some balls.
And that
I
was
couldn't.
Rhaena's or Bela's dragon. It should have been because there was their
It's
mother.
it's the biggest dragon ever. I think he has the largest dragon, and that's why that's why they always tell him to stand back and like protect the kingdom, because like literally, I think his dragon, the one that chomped out fucking Jaehaerys in the last episode last season. Yeah, that shit. Did you see how big that motherfucker was? Like he just like
Yeah,
had one bite
but
and the whole
but my
dragon was
thing was that he took that dragon because it should have been one of the girls, Rhaena's or Bela's,
yeah, it
because
was.
that was their mother's
You're right.
dragon,
And
right?
now she's got
You know,
Moon Dancer, which
right.
that was good though, that he could see, like, even though again I don't think he's good at strategizing at all. He's only good at like kind of cleaning up his own disasters a little bit, or like doing damage control a little bit. But he had some good looks, and she wasn't that great at being secretive either with Moon Dancer. She kind of was too obvious. And what's her name? Rhaenyra told her not to do that either. She was like, "Don't be in sight." And this bitch was
Wait,
like,
we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that next, real quick.
well,
But
anyways,
just
back to this scene. I thought it
yeah.
was perfect. There were so many things going on. The bastard son of of
Oh
Damon, the brother.
yeah.
I love how they introduced him. I loved how he was talking shit and Aegon just bursted through.
Right.
I thought it was the best scene, not just because of the nudity. I thought it was a great setup. Again, I think they did this all on purpose. I think they did that prosthetic on purpose and put him in that scene on purpose. I think and Mama Lou's put it up like, standing up. You put it perfectly too. Like dude, you're enacting. And that's the reason why you're able to break this down so well. Like the way that they're placed in the scene and the way that people are standing and the idiosyncrasies and like the way that their facial expressions are. And I felt like they did a lot of that in this scene. There was so many things. I mean, of course, if you're a perv, you could like rewind many times. But as far as like where things are going, it was a great halfway point too. It was a great halfway point in the episode too. It was like, damn, like this is like literally like the apex of where the show is going. I thought it was a really good scene. And again, there's a lot of violence in this show. And so you got to break it up a little bit. And now you could say to yourself, okay, episode 3, like this episode had like, everything was bubbling up. This episode, the kid got his head chopped off. And this episode was literally about like a pissing contest. I mean, Aemon pissed on his balls, but like it's literally a pissing contest between him and his brother.
Yeah. Looking at the scene, I just couldn't help but like you see Aegon just egging him on the whole time, like talking all this smack in the background. Oh, she's a whore, whatever he's saying, just talking shit. And it's like belittling his brother, right? And he's showing restraint, Aemon, right? Because he knows he could whoop his fucking ass, but he's letting him run his mouth. And at the end of the day, he's like, He's like, for whatever it's worth, bro, you know, I still got the swinging dick around here. And I'm gonna walk out. I'm like my mom says, Eamon walked away proudly. And he's like, I got no fucking shame in my game at the end of the day. You ain't shit. You know,
Yeah,
like
no, he's like Ann Coulter. Like he fucking like just no. And like you said with Cersei, like they already have these archetypes, and he's just playing the long game. He's a perfect example of playing chess,
and
and
yes. And
perfect example.
I see like there that moment planted the seed for Aemon to like have a little vendetta against him. The fact that his brother openly embarrassed him like that.
Oh, he's gonna get
Now,
him. Oh yeah, he's gonna get him.
yeah, now if there wasn't anything there before that could have made him betray him, that moment planted that seed. So I think we'll see more from that. And yes, we'll just quickly touch on something you mentioned already. Um, Ulf, you know, his claim of Targaryen blood and his interaction with King Aegon the second, that drama, that was interesting.
Is that
Um,
true? Is he really related to them?
I believe so, and I think the show, you know, he's pledged his allegiance to Rhaenyra, and the show could be looking for more dragon riders for the dark, you know, for the black side. And because he does have Targaryen blood, that means he can, more than likely, tap on that dragon, get on that dragon. So they might be looking for some dragon riders to, you know, boost up the drama on the show.
Technically, he is the uncle, the bastard uncle.
So I think we'll see something with that. You know, they didn't give us enough that I could really speculate too long on him, but I think, I mean, they're setting him up for a reason. And we already know he has an allegiance to Rhaenyra, so I think that was interesting. I'm interested to see where he goes. But something else you touched on, let's jump right into it. With Bela, when she chases Cole and Gwaine on Moondancer, before reporting back to Rhaenyra. And
Fire
as you
that
said,
bitch. Fire her. That was terrible. She was terrible. Oh my god. And she couldn't even find them in the forest. She was a waste. That was a waste.
oh man.
I would have been so tight if I was Rhaenyra and I saw that. She exposed herself. She couldn't even find the motherfucker. Like if that, well, obviously the show would have been drastically different if they would have killed him off that quick. Or even the brother. So it was technically story plot impossible to kill them, but she was so incompetent in that scene. I couldn't believe that she got spotted that quickly, and that he was able to take his troops. He had a great peripheral. He was just like, or great instincts. He was like, and they just bolted into that forest. So that was a good move on his part, and she was sloppy.
And it just showed.
Me too. I would have been like, I'm taking down the whole forest, bitch.
And it really did show like how Rhaenyra's team has a lot of people who don't have experience, right?
Very
Like
inexperienced.
Kristen Cole just, and at the same time they showed how little experience this guy had, Gwaine, G Wayne had, when, you know, he's talking about, let's go to the brothel, my nephew won't be upset if I go, you know, we go to like the inn for an evening. And then, you know, turns out Bela's in the sky, and Cole, like, he does have those, he noticed he's
Spidey
like, wait,
sense.
right. And he almost, I feel like he noticed her before she noticed him, because if she would have noticed him first, she would have been swooping down, for according to her actions. So he's good. He's damn
Yeah.
good. That's what I'm saying. He's a threat. And I know you said
I would want him on the battlefield. I would not want him on my council.
right. I think there's like that savvy that he has. Like, he ended up being the hand. And this was a
By
quote
luck,
that,
by
and,
default.
and wait, and this was a quote that I wrote down from Gawain, Mr. G. Wayne. He said, "What a giddying ascent the gods have bestowed on you," you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, he was a little piece of shit, a smug
Everybody
bastard with
knew he
that
slept
one.
his way to the top. Everybody knew he slept his way to the top. That's
But
literally
he
what he
didn't
did.
fuck Aegon, you know? And Aegon's the one that put him in the
But
position.
Who's this? Oh, hello, Ajuviu. The Dornish are used to fighting dragons. True, they are. I love the Dorns. Dorns is like my favorite city in all of the lands.
Yeah. Hey there.
Hey.
Thanks
Thank
for
you to
coming
our
on.
Twitch. I mean, not Twitch, our Twitter X people. You guys are really into this. Thank you.
Oh, we appreciate you. Yeah. So, you know, we had. So yeah, I agree. Like, what the hell on earth were you doing? Rhaenyra told you specifically, do not get close, and especially don't get close. I was like, oh my god, she's gonna die. I was like, nobody has a bow and arrow here. Cause I was like, this is the part where she dies.
It's
I was
one of the
waiting.
smaller dragons, Moon Dancer, but it's not that small to get. It's not
No,
like
I thought they were gonna shoot her. I
they
thought they were
can't
gonna.
reach. They can't reach that far.
She got close.
But you think I mean, it is a fictional show, but you really think an arrow can like hit that far? Like and with accuracy? Nah,
It depends who you got with you, but
I guess.
that's,
right, I'm playing physics with a fucking fictional medieval show.
Do you think like your friend last
Mythbusters,
week?
double Mythbusters.
I thought he was gonna shoot her with a gun.
Right?
I thought he was gonna shoot that bitch with a shotgun. You know.
I beat that bitch with a bat.
Right, I don't know what the hell was gonna happen. But yeah, and you know, also one of the things in the book they say about Moondancer was that it was the size of a war horse. So clearly they changed that for the show to make it a little more imposing.
Oh, okay. So you got a point. It still was very far up in the sky, but a war horse, that's a small ass dragon. God damn.
Right, they made it much bigger to be like more of a threat, you know. So yeah, I thought
Must be
that
like
part.
a Clydesdale. Holy shit!
But
What the
I
heck?
am excited though. Like I was saying last week, like I did, you know, it sucks. We didn't touch on this, but you know, Rhaenyra does send her children away to be overseen by Rhaena. You know, she's like, "Can you please watch the kids for me?" Essentially, like, be the mother I can't be. And Rhaena's all upset because she's like, "Oh, you're pretty much trying to take me out the war," but it's like, this is why I really need you. This is like, I can't.
I thought that was one of Damon's kids that did that. That she asked to do that.
Yeah, Rhaena.
Oh, it is Rhaena. Sorry. Again, everybody's got the fucking same names. Like,
Yeah, so she asked Rhaena to do it, and Rhaena was a little upset, but she still, of course, followed the order of her queen. But I was mentioning this last week. I'm really excited to see like these girls, all the teenagers, like grow up with the show. Like I think they're going to be some really interesting characters. And Bela going for it and trying to take a bite out of crime. I was like, okay, because that means she directly disobeyed orders and she's got a little fight in her. So I could see someone, you know, maybe she's the like an Arya where we didn't see it coming, but maybe she's gonna learn how to fight. You know, there could be some things. Yeah, I could see it. There could be some things coming from.
the women are badass on the show. Again,
Right.
I said this last episode. It took a long time for the women to like really take over Game of Thrones in the 8-part season. And this one, these guys are the women are the dominant force of the show right from jump.
And I loved what's my lady, Sir Brienne. So I would love some of that energy
Brienne.
once again. So if we get someone like that to teach Bela how it's done, I won't be mad, you know?
Ooh, not that. I love Brie actually. It's hard. I was thinking about Jamie though, because Jamie was my favorite from Game of Thrones. We do not have a Jamie on this show yet. Like there is no like little lovable like fucking like alpha male or something like that. Not that we all like.
But you don't think Daemon is supposed to be the Jamie?
Oh, I'm so sorry. It is so true. Daemon is that. Wow,
okay.
That was dumb. Daemon definitely is that. No, sorry. And Daemon is Daemon my favorite character? Yeah, Daemon is my favorite. Mr. Matt. What's his name? Matt Smith or something like that. From, that's my guy, though. I love him. I love him from The Crown. He's a great actor. Oh.
Yeah. So I think that was I am curious to see where these teenagers how they come up because I think is it her son Jaharis? Rhaenyra's son Jaharis? Or is it Luke? Or is Luke the one that died? I don't know.
I don't even know like all the drama between the family tree after this, like too much. Like, but
Jacaerys.
It just shows how much a mess this whole hierarchy and this battle for the crown, because these motherfuckers are literally naming them just in case they become the heir to the throne. So that's why she did that, even though they were bastard children, even though she was fucking like the bodyguard pretty much. She still was holding out hope to get her inheritance, and so she still named her kids as if they were going to take over.
Right. So yes, Jacaerys is another character. I'm curious. He's showing like the way he made that little comment at the beginning where he's like, oh, he sullies his brother's grave. Like, I think, he's the brother that showed the most interest in fighting and stuff too. So I think we're gonna see some more like sword fights, because that's one thing on this show we don't have as much of, like those
Nah,
warrior
not
type
that much.
characters.
Not that much.
It's more about it's more about the dragons, so I'm like, I would love to see. I love that sword fighting aspect. I don't know why. Don't look at me like that when I say that. But I do love that. So I'm like, I would love to see where how far these characters could come, because it's only season 2. I can't believe we're in season 2 already, by the way. It's like, it feels like,
I mean, it took like 3 years to get to, but yes.
right? It's insane. So, and I'm hearing that episode 4, if anyone is thinking of have been waiting to get in, the episode 4 is like insane. Like, it's a really good one. So we have
Is
a
this
good
who you
one
were
coming.
talking about? Not to go backwards, but is this who you were talking about? The witch?
Yeah, Allison Rivers. Yeah, the witch.
Ah, gotcha. Okay. Yes,
And
I forgot that she was the
not
one in that scene.
Um, I don't know if this is spoiler for future thing. This is just a little spoiler warning for everybody right here. A little spoiler warning. I'll keep my hand up while I'm saying it. So, in case you don't want to know anything about her and you want to be surprised, she is okay. So they're saying, I read that she's a witch and that she has in the book she's referenced to be like at least 40 years of age, but her powers keep her young, and I think
That's
she
grandma on
even
that show, 40. Holy shit.
right, and she like she had given suckled, I think the what are their names? My the What's Laris's family?
Which
The one
Laris? There's like several Larises.
Laris. Oh man,
Is he the Tullys?
The Strong.
Oh, the Strongs. Yes,
I
yes, the
believe
Strong.
so.
Yes,
I
yes,
think
yes.
like, so her milk or whatever even like suckled them, but she's like cursed because, so remember last week I was just talking about the magical aspect. That's right there. She's the hint at the magical aspect. So I think that is coming. And it'll probably be via her. You know, she because remember also right after she appeared, um that's when Damon had his dream where he had like that flash to old Rhaenyra. So
Mhm,
she's got some power. She even made a cameo happen from an actor from season 1. She's got a lot of power, so
mhm. I agree.
oh, and that makes me wonder. All right, I'll put my hand down. um Spoilers are done. I wonder if it's possible this season we'll see something with young Allison and maybe Viserys, or just Viserys in general, like not as deteriorated, but get to see him in like, healthy form, like something, like even if it's like a dream talking to her or something, Because if they like to bring these actors back, then I wouldn't see why not bring.
You really like flashbacks. You really enjoy flashbacks.
And not even that I would like it, I could live without it, but I'm just wondering if the show will just do it, if that's something that they're interested in.
They are. They are. Especially what's his name? Viserys was that's another Crown alumni. Um, especially when these characters are so popular. That scene where last year where he had like that big solo monologue, he gained a lot of fans from that, and so they're definitely going to bring it back. They're definitely going to bring it back. I think they're going to try to not recreate, but I think they're going to try to like have more of a lead up to that part where he was very delirious and said the song of Ice and Fire about Aegon. But no, they're definitely going to do some more flashbacks. And again, that the younger version of Rhaenyra, They're both good. That was good casting on both the older version and the younger one. Just really well cast. So,
You
yeah,
know,
a lot of fans with these. Helena, I just looked her up on Instagram. She has a great following too. I think her name is Thea something. No, she's good. I love the casting on this one.
you
They
know,
did a really good job.
one of my favorite things that, and this is from another show, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. You know, I was
No
out representing.
way. Whoa.
Yeah,
We've
one
never
of my
mentioned
favorite.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer before.
Not yet. But one of my favorite things that they did, right? They had in season 7, they fight this villain named the First, and it always takes on the shape of dead people, and they use
Oh,
that
I
to
remember that.
bring in the, to show how powerful this person is. They had them shapeshift into every main villain of each season, because Buffy always had one main villain. So he transformed even to the first villain, the Master, right? And everybody's like,
Yeah.
oh shit, we haven't seen him in years.
Shape
So
shifting is big in these type of fictional shows.
so I could see something happening where they can have potential for a lot of these cameos, and all these actors more than ever. Everybody loves, like, the internet's so aware of viral moments, so it's
Hmm.
like more than ever. Yeah, I'm sure this Millie Alcock, our Supergirl, she's gonna be Supergirl. She's gonna be, I'm sure she got trending, or people were interested in talking about that.
Fun fact, for all the people that love Buffy, I love Buffy too. Sarah Michelle Gellar, she just got casted, and we're not going to go into it. I just want to mention it.
But she
She
did.
just got
You
casted
can
in
always
Dexter.
plug Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Of course, she just got casted as Dexter's boss in the prequel
Woo!
series.
Yes, I messaged her on Instagram and said I'll be watching.
Oh, good. I love her. I love her and Freddie Prinze. They're a good couple.
Right. Yep. So yeah, I'm excited for anything SMG. Shout out to her.
SMG. Look at you. You really are a fan. You acronym there. I would have never thought that. If you would have said
That,
like SMG and not mentioned her, I'd be like, who the fuck is SMG?
right. And then let's just, we'll wrap up shortly.
Okay.
Okay, and let's just discuss. I think we could get right into it. Something else comes to your mind. Rhaenyra's meeting with Allison, and it was kind of brought up by under the advice of Rhaenys to do this.
Very
That
ballsy. Very ballsy.
right. And there's something I talked about in the last episode about those leathers, and I'm glad that they paid off. Because remember, I was asking, like, what happened to those fucking leathers? And Jimmy Moonshine was like, oh, I don't think
Oh, the Raven,
she's
the Raven ones
interested.
that she wasn't reading. Yes, you were right. You were definitely right.
And I'm glad they paid it off in this episode. And I'm like, whoa! And it's like we got to see these two together back on the screen. How did you feel? What did you think of the scene? Before you tell me
Uh,
what you think of the scene, tell the audience what exactly happened. Then tell me what you think of the scene.
sure. So, it's been a very like all of these type of operatives have been very unrealistic, like and very ballsy and very bold. So, but with Rhaenyra, she basically went through the fishery and she disguised herself as kind of like a nun or like a peasant. And they made a good point. Like nobody pays attention from anybody in that area. And Allison, the only place that she goes by herself, especially in these heightened times of war, she's got guards all the time. And the only time she doesn't is when she does her little candle ceremony when she goes to the big temple, the big church. I don't think they call it that in those times, but it's basically the Red Keep. The Red Keep. That's their major religion over there. But I didn't think that it was very realistic because I definitely think she would have definitely got caught. But suspend our imagination. I thought it was a very powerful scene. I thought again the women relationships in this, the women dynamics are amazing. Bringing up the friendship, bringing up the manipulation. Again, she's doubling down. I need to get a better word for that. But that's what Allison's been doing all along. Again, just like her father, they know that they're wrong. They know that they did wrong. They know that they keep doing wrong, but they have to keep saving face in order to show that they are strong characters, even though they're not really. They have a lot of false confidence. They have a lot of so in that scene, she's trying to salvage. She's trying not to get into war, Rhaenyra, And Allison, she doesn't care the casualties that she brings with her just totally. She finally knows that Rhaenyra was telling the truth about inheriting the throne. So basically, if you saw season 1, the end, again, on Larys's deathbed, Viserys' deathbed, that's his name, right? Viserys?
Yes.
He on his deathbed, he was so out of it. He was so on Poppy, the seed of the Poppy, that like he told the story as if Rhaenyra was there, but she wasn't. He confused her with being
The
Rhaenyra.
Song of Fire and Ice. Yeah.
Song of Fire and Ice, the basis of this whole show, and the other show. And so then when Rhaenyra figures it out, brings it to her attention, it doesn't even matter. She's so far deep into this that she has to live by the sword, die by the sword. She has to literally it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how wrong I am. I have to see this through. And it doesn't matter who dies in the meantime. And it's very selfish, but Allison is not that smart of a character, so I'm not that surprised.
Well, I did want to point out some of the things that happened, as we get to that moment.
Sure, please. Fill it in.
She's just I love that she's walking through you said she comes through the fishery, and then she walks in, and her guy is I'm gonna sit outside the church. You go handle that. I got my little dagger in my pocket, in my sleeve. Just
that was the only realistic part of
ugly.
that, to be honest.
In case shit gets ugly, right? So then she goes in. And you see Allison lighting her candles faithfully as she does, and we do have the reference that she did get this info from Mysaria. She was even though Rhaenyra was the one who recommended she speak to her.
I love her. She's great. Mysaria
was the one who's well, I have. She said the only time she is alone would be here, so she got that info. So she's already proving herself valuable. So we appreciate that.
She's great. I love her accent too. Great accent.
And okay, so we get to see these ladies back together, and we just, she's having that moment, and then Rhaenyra appears right next to her, and I think that's the place. When we last saw them in that place was when Alicent was saying that I think you'll be a great queen. As when they were still children, I believe, or something like that. Or maybe not. Maybe it was. Yeah, it may have been when they were still children, right? And or played by the teen girls. Anyway, and it's such heightened tension, and the fact that Rhaenyra's I got a blade, bitch. If you say, she's why shouldn't I call out? She's because I'll kill you before they get over here.
I got the blicky, bitch.
Right. Hello. And then she's oh man, I'm starting this off on the wrong foot. I'm
not Greece.
You think?
Yeah.
So
another unrealistic part, again, in the sake of the show, of course she's not gonna scream, but in real life, that bitch would have screamed go get this hoe, fucking kill her.
But, okay, so I think it was interesting, right? It does beg the question. Allison, in some ways, most of the people on the show, is very self-serving, and we see it with her her sin begetting sin with Mr. Kristen Cole over there. So she was threatened, and she was very Karen in that moment, all right, don't hurt me, girl. What do you want to talk about?
Don't hurt me, girl.
Oh, please, not the face. All right.
Not the moneymaker, not the moneymaker.
Right? So it was very, I feel but to say this, even though there's that side of her where she's very I don't want to die, I think at the same time I think she wouldn't have called. I think she has to challenge Rhaenyra, oh, why shouldn't I just do this? Because she's that friend who's that bitch friend that's oh, you came here, that's your master scheme, but what if I call out? Were you ready for that? Yeah. But I don't think she would have, because I think there's a part of her that does want to connect with her, and would it's just been so long, and I don't know. I know there's a lot of stuff that happened, and I think both of their guards are up, and I think even disagreeing with myself, Rhaenyra had to still put her in her place and be but I lost my son, and then she's oh yeah, I guess so.
I blame Otto. I know a lot of parents are not going to want to hear this, but it's his fault. It's his fault.
Yeah,
he raised her like that, and I think the fact that that she is so advantageous with her children, that she uses the people of her court as pawns, and and even the sexual stuff with the why do I keep forgetting his name?
Kristen Cole.
Kristen Cole. I don't know why. It doesn't
I
seem
have
like
such a
something
block on that name.
right. It seems like it doesn't seem like it seems like a more modern name. It does not seem like something in that time for some reason. It sounds like a
Right.
model's name from like now. But
Right.
even with her sexual repression, because she didn't want to fuck Viserys, like she wasn't into that. That was like she wasn't attracted to him. So she has to like get that out now. Like she
I
was
don't even think you
so
can use that word for what they were doing. Fuck.
exactly with the old balls, like ew. Like so now she has a chance to actually have sex with someone she wants to. So it's like she doesn't have clear vision. It's like one of those people that like they've been virgins all their life and they get like the first piece of ass and like they don't know what to do with it. Like she is literally doing that right now. And she's like kind of like living, she's kind of experiencing life for the first time. It feels like her children have actually experienced life before she has. And she's been so sheltered because again her father was grooming her just to get a vantage point at the crown, at the throne.
And you reminded me of the fact that was pointed out. I forget on which show. I think all the shows kind of were discussing this, and I mentioned it briefly earlier. Is that Allison, right, is in Rhaenyra's old room. So while Helena's in Allison's old queen room,
Mhm.
now Allison is in Rhaenyra's room.
Damn, you
The,
are good, man.
these are the guys on heavy spoilers, Screen Junkies. I
Oh, okay, I was going to
appreciate
say,
them.
like, you noticed this while you were watching. This is amazing. Like, you're
No,
so observant.
but they pointed it out, and they're like, if you notice, when everything is happening with Kristen Cole and Allison, um, they're surrounded by like almost like the ghost of Rhaenyra, right, the whole time because they're in
Yeah,
their fucking old room.
true, true.
And what you reminded me of that because what you said was Allison is coming into her womanhood almost now. And if you think about it, Rhaenyra been tapped that, been hit that when it was still the old actress. So you know what I mean? So it's interesting, like because you said her kids, they're kind
She
of
smashed
like,
Kristen Cole?
yeah,
Rhaenyra did? Oh, shit, I forgot.
yeah. So it's like,
Nice.
so
Right?
it's a
Like
lot
ASAP
going on.
Rocky. I hit it first. Ray J.
Right. So it's a lot. It's a lot, going on. A lot of like shit under the surface. Um,
I
it's
don't
I don't
usually
know.
rewatch things, but I should have rewatched season one because it was so far in between the seasons. I kind of
Yeah,
like forgot some of the things.
yeah,
But thank you for reminding me. And thank you,
yeah.
Joe the Magician.
Right, Joe Magician. Yep. Ryan, Screen Junkies. All you guys are great. I love.
Hey.
Yes. So yeah. So there was that little tidbit going on, and one thing we didn't touch on. Well, I guess we'll wrap this part up. Um, I just felt like so she does threaten her, and then like you said, she gets to the point where she's like, oh, so tell me what he did say, and then because Rhaenyra like starts to cry because she starts thinking that she's saying that he mentioned she didn't mention you, she mentioned Aegon, and like Rhaenyra's like tearing up, and then she's like, and he says, the promised prince, and she's like, wait, promised prince, like wait, that's me almost,
Reverse,
like.
reverse.
Right. And she's like, wait, he didn't tell you about the song of Fire and Ice? And then she's like, huh? And she's like, and then you can see on Allison's face where she's like, oh, I see. And then, but she's like you said, she ain't gonna say that.
There was
She,
no mistake.
yes, it's no mistake. It's already, and she's like, it's too late. And I feel
Yeah.
like as much as she wanted to, there's a part of her that probably would love to just be able to stay there and have the nostalgia of her friend and all of that. Like the line has been crossed, too many lines have been crossed, she's crossed them herself. And someone pointed out the fact that like,
Habitual line stepper.
right, and someone, I forget which channel, pointed out, but she literally stepped away from her fate, right? Because she's put all those candles down, and not only did she walk away from Rhaenyra and the possibility of peace, she walked away from her fate. She like turned her back on it, walked away, and said, "F those candles and all that going on right now. Like none of that matters because it's about." It's everything else. The secession, like
What do you
Scar
think
and
she was
Lion King
praying
said.
about? What do you think she was praying about? Like, who do you like?
I think she thinks of her mother and like what could have
Okay.
been if she would have had a chance.
She
Like,
did miss her mother. Yes, that is a very good point. She definitely missed her mother more than Rhaenyra did. Rhaenyra is a more self-sustained person
and I
than
think Rhaenyra
Alicent.
misses her mother too, because well, at
Of
least in the
course,
book, in
everybody
the book,
does.
from what I understand, they say that she carries like a lot of her soft side comes from her
That was
mother's
fucked
heart.
up. That was fucked up when they like dragged her when she didn't want to have the baby in the C-section.
Yeah.
That was crazy. But Viserys, I mean, he's not alone. Many kings did that, and even now, there was another show I was watching. Bridgerton, where the
Mm.
son had to decide between the mom and the baby, like because he was the head of the household, and women were like property back then. But that was so nasty. And that was another one, a cousin, and she was like, she told him like, I don't want to have this baby. So yeah, but I still say that Rhaenyra, everybody misses their mother, unless you're like some psychopath. But Rhaenyra, I feel, is a more self-sustained person. Alicent, if she's ever missing a parent, it's detrimental to her. It's a huge step backwards because she's not a very adult person. She's an adult, but she's very immature.
I think I don't know. I think there's some parts of her, like you said, there's some aspects of her that had to grow up so fast where I feel like there's like she's like very disassociated, right? Like I feel like those kids that they didn't get a childhood because they had to raise all their siblings and all that. So it's like there's two sides of her. There's like the disassociated person who's just
She
like
got
she
that
just can't
Irish.
even console. She can't even console her children. Like we saw that last week. This one's crying. Ha, 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 ha. She can't even. She walks out the room and go get some ass. Helena's crying, and instead of like reaching for her, she's just like,
She don't know what to do. Otto
looking
has
at
a
her.
great moral compass, but he wasn't able to be like a father to her. He was more of a hand. He was more catering to his king. And so that's what I'm saying. I feel like she's so stunted and that's a big reason the way she parents. She's literally just copying off Otto. She doesn't really have a parenting strategy. It's literally just doing what he did, just in a
Right.
more multiplied form. Because I think she was the only one. Oh no, not the only one. The brother, but he was sent away.
Right, and we know we're gonna see him come back with. I think Otto's gonna get him in place, maybe teased by the end of the season, or and probably set up for the third. Because I doubt this is the end of Otto and all
Oh,
this
it's
whole
gonna get crazy.
season.
They don't play
Yeah,
with
I'm
it.
like we're gonna get more Otto this season.
I
But
agree.
so yeah, we did see that, and Rhaenyra seems like she's gonna be like more self-assured that like, okay, I'm right, I'm fighting for the right reasons because my father didn't say so. I feel like she's gonna come back with like, I got the tea, and it's true. My father loved me, and he was saying all this, and he really wanted me to be like, So I
Take
feel like
that. Take that.
yes, so I'm here for it. I'm like Rhaenyra's like she's got all the juice she needs to sustain.
Put that
Um
poppy seed in your crack pipe and smoke that shit.
okay, put that in your
Okay.
okay. So but one thing we didn't touch on, then if you have anything you want to talk about, was Mysteria and Sea Smoke. She mentioned like Sea Smoke the dragon was going crazy, crazy in the sky, and we know that oh my God, is he another Laris? I don't even know what the fuck his name is. But he's supposed to be dead, right? Rhaenyra's old husband, but they really let him escape at the end. So people were speculating: is he actually dead
Oh,
now?
I thought he
Maybe.
died. Oh, I thought he died. Look at you.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like, did he? Is he now in some kind of danger? Is he now dead? Is that going to be revealed in upcoming episodes?
Well, if he is
Or
alive, this would be a good time because they need as many bodies as they can. And he's a great swordsman. Oh my god, so they definitely need his. If he's alive, they should definitely try to get him on Rhaenyra's side to fight.
right. So it's like, who will be? Let me see. I want to get his name.
But
Who?
the only bad part about that is if he does show up, if he does appear, there's still a risk of proving illegitimacy to her claim to the throne, because then now there's living proof that she had bastard children.
Rainy. Oh, Corlys Laenor. Sorry.
Yes.
I feel like people know, but again, I think it comes down to what Corlys said, right? It's like people don't remember blood; they remember names.
Who did he
And
whoop?
I think
Whose ass did he whoop in the season before? Was it Aemon or was it Cole?
who
He had a
who?
scene where somebody challenged him, the baby daddy of
Oh,
Rhaenyra.
I don't remember. I know what you're saying. I don't remember. That's
It
something
was
good to
somebody,
know.
and he embarrassed him pretty bad. It was either Cole or it was Aemon. I forgot who it was.
Yes.
My two
Let's
least
see.
favorite fucking characters.
It says he's the
No, but I
one who
do like.
saves Damon in the war for the Stepstones when he goes up against the crab feeder
It
and
was
his force.
Damon. Damon's the one who got his. No way. For
Well,
real?
he's the one who saves Damon in the war for the Stepstones when he goes up
Oh
against the
yeah, that's
crab
different.
feeder.
I just meant like there
Yeah.
was a
Yeah.
part where they were training and he challenged him, and I just forgot who it was. But no, he's a good swordsman. So if they're going to war, they definitely need to recruit really good generals, and he would be good. It would be good. And I wonder how he feels about his son dying. Like I wonder. So again, if he's alive, there's a lot to unpack with him being gone that long.
I wonder if it means he's close by, maybe something like that, or maybe he's being, maybe we'll see him being held captive, because we don't see a lot of like the seafaring people. So maybe they're, in Game of Thrones, we ended up meeting all these different people,
Well,
like
they haven't introduced a lot of characters, so
what,
I do think there's a strong chance that that's going to happen. What you said, I didn't even think of that. I thought he was done. I thought he was dead. But there's a strong chance he might not, because again, they still haven't uncovered a lot of characters yet.
right. So yeah, there's that. And then just some of the other little things that think will be worth mentioning. They definitely, the Greens were putting up their flags very proudly in this episode. Just showing like who runs shit. And yeah, that was something I did notice. Let me see if there's any notes that came to mind.
Didn't he
Yeah.
travel to the New World with his lover? I don't even remember. Again, it's so long ago.
No, I think his lover died, and I think he lived only.
Okay.
If I remember.
Okay.
If I
Again, I was
remember.
making fun of someone recently. My cousin was like, "Oh, I just can't keep up with so many new shows, so I end up rewatching and Game of Thrones." I'm like, Game of Thrones, but now now I got like fucking Alzheimer's, so I'm like, I should have watched the House of the Dragon one more time before I fucking started the second season.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can just go through season 1 again, just to like,
or even like a
build up.
recap, even like a YouTube recap or something like that. Like,
yeah, that sounds good enough too. Yeah, I was just
they're
seeing
really
if there's
good nowadays. They're really good. The recaps. They're
Oh
like,
yeah, I've watched
they
a
definitely
ton.
get you. They definitely get you up to speed for sure.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, let me see if there's anything that just comes up. Blah, blah, blah. Bela Swanson. I
They
feel
go your
like,
girl. They go your girl with the eyebrows. She got a little dent in her nose.
oh,
Like my girl, I love Miss. Oof, she's sexy too.
Mysteria. Yeah, I'm excited to see where she'll go. All right, and just to wrap it up, what are you most like excited about in the upcoming? I didn't watch the preview, or at least I don't think I did. What do you,
I did
but
it.
like,
I do that on purpose. I don't like
yeah.
watching the preview.
What do
My
you
brother
like?
got
Well,
me
what are
into
you
that.
looking forward to with the season in general? Like, what is maybe some predictions or anything like that?
I'm interested in how Damon is going to raise that army, because right now it's a big reclamation project, right? I feel like he's on like HGTV, like he has to like fucking rebuild his home like one of those twins. So that's going to be cool to watch. Hopefully they don't take too long with that. I'm interested to see how Aemon is going to start plotting against his brother without. So again, I don't think I. It's weird because no, I think Aemon would fuck everything up just to get revenge, but I think he'll do it in a slow release, like it's like a poison pill.
Huh.
I would say that I'm interested in more of the dynamic between Alicent and Rhaenyra, but I think we got as much as we can at this point of the season. I think they're gonna like lay off that a little bit and get back into the war. But no, I don't even know what to look forward to because each episode they focus on something different, and so I think they do a really good job. Again, even though they know the story is mapped out already, they do a really good job of like really segmenting particular angles of like people's thought process about the war, people's strategy, how things have snowballed even more since the first episode or even the first season. So I think it's a really well done show. Really well done.
Yeah, I definitely piggyback on that. It's hard. It's like you don't know what to look for because they
my
do
back,
keep a
my
good
back
job
is
of
hurting, Robert. My back is hurting. Don't do that. No, I'm joking. I'm not
you know, I feel a little heavy, baby.
Nah, you're
but
not. You're the more in shape person out of the two.
oh my
You good?
god, but
You
I
good?
will say
You
I am
beach ready?
excited. I'd love to see what's going on with Helena. Like I'm like
Me
curious to
too.
see where this is gonna
That's a
go.
good one.
Helena is definitely the character that's like intriguing me. I won't say the most, but because she was like so not necessarily like so focused in season one. She's piquing my interest now in season two. Like she's different. Like we've seen Rhaenyra, we love her. We've seen Allison, we love her. Everybody like we know them, either hate them or love them. And she's getting more screen time, and I'm like, I love her. Yeah, she's definitely on my love list. I'm like, all right, I want to see what
I
more
agree
she's
with you.
got.
I agree with your
Right?
mom, and I agree with you. It's so funny. It's like you went in like the deep part of my brain because I love Helena. I think she's either going to step up like cream to the crop, like with her psyche. Like this is either a make or break moment for her. She's either going to be a better regent, or she's gonna snap, and something like is gonna happen where it affects all of them, and they're gonna look back and be like, "Damn, we're the one that made her crazy." And what back to Mama Lou's? Yeah, I think we're due for a dragon fight. I think we're due for either someone getting roasted by like the fire, or two dragons fighting, or somebody like burning a whole fucking village down. We're definitely due for that. But
Yeah,
yo,
I
CGI
think
is expensive, so they gotta save that shit.
right. I think it was Grace Randolph on Beyond the Trailer that said I think Daron's dragon might have blue fire.
Oh, that's
So
fun. That would be so cool to watch.
yeah, so she was like, we need to see that ASAP. you know?
Didn't the Nightwalker dragon have blue fire too? That
Yeah,
was
the
cool.
White
Yeah, that was
Walker once
cool.
they took over the
Yeah, that was
zombie
cool.
dragon.
That was great graphics. That was really cool. And the graphics are
So
better this year with the dragons.
right. So this could be that could be really interesting. But yeah, outside of Helena, I do want to see how where Damon's treachery leads, you know, because he's got a lot of shit up his sleeve, and for sure I agree. Aemon, you know, that's his like Aemon looks up to Damon. He like wears his like his outfits, like he has a Damon poster in his room.
Yeah,
like,
everybody has a reason. Everybody has a motive enough to bring down the whole ship. But that's why it's so interesting. You just don't know how far people will take it in order to
right.
self-serve themselves.
Right. And you know, with Aegon being such a little piece of crap, I feel like I'm like, this
He's
is
like
gonna
up there
be
with King Joffrey at the moment. I like want him to scratch his throat out. Like fucking, I hate
I-
Aegon.
well, okay, so you know, Aegon right now, he lost his son, so there's still like that like minor sympathy the audience we have for him, but then he we can't forget, he beat in the face of blood, then he hung all the rat catchers. He talking about how disassociated that whole Hightower family is. There was that moment.
He's trying to live up to his namesake. He's a dick.
Yeah, we didn't mention, but he was when he was getting gearing up, he was wearing Aegon the Conqueror's outfit, and it didn't even fit him. You know, he was like still trying to step into big boy shoes that he's not ready for. But I was gonna say, when he encountered Helena in the hallway, they showed that he didn't have anything to say to her. You know, like they walked and she looked like maybe they could say something. You know, and he just was like, keep it walking.
But
Like
that just
maybe
shows how small he is. He only feels good when he's like trying to mount her. Like he knows how disgusting he is. He knows how gross he is. And he doesn't have the balls. Like Elena got balls. Elena says what she feels. Even in that moment, he would have folded. The part where like they were choosing the kid, who can do that? Who can do that? She even thought strategy when she did that.
You
Like
know,
she had more heart for the daughter. Like she knew that they would have the Aegon would have like went for the son, and it was perfect when they were showing that scene with I think his it's one of the Lannisters where the guy was on his back, the Jaehaerys was on his back. That was perfect because that just showed how spoiled rotten that kid was going to be. He was on his way to being just like Aegon, and so like it wasn't that far fetched that like that Helena was like, "Yo, just kill him." Even though, again, she wasn't thinking that way. She's not a regent like that. She's not a real typical queen or a
yeah, she may
princess.
have foresaw like how he could have had a more horrible reign. You're right. She could have foresaw that.
Boom. That's exactly what I'm saying. You said it better.
Yeah. Um, and another thing, oh, I was meant to write it down, but I didn't because I was so engaged in
Don't write
listening
it
to you.
down, Robert. Don't leave evidence. I'm joking.
Right. But it was in line with oh, because you said how dark, like how she has balls, right? Like how Helena has balls, and she might. What I'm thinking now, because I'm trying, like, going back to that theory that we started speculating about, like, what could that I forgive you, and it just reminds me of The Color Purple, right? You gotta be there.
That's a
And
great movie.
it's like, is Helena gonna do something publicly that's gonna embarrass Aegon? That's gonna make Allison have to do something like give that Miss Sealy line, like you gotta be there or something like that. You know, like is that gonna come
Yeah.
up?
I think like I said, I think there's a good chance she either rises to the occasion or she snaps and she takes them all down with her.
Yeah,
So I
I
agree.
feel
I
like
definitely agree. That's definitely in the cards.
they're trying to make her coherent enough, or like at least coherent enough that like it's possible before this series is done we see her fucking have a crazy ass moment on a dragon, like she's on her dragon and she's gonna do some kamikaze shit, something,
Oh,
like
that'd
kind of
be
like
crazy.
the girl from
Right?
Last
Imagine
of
a
Us.
kamikaze dragon. That'd be nuts.
Remember, like Last of Us girl who was in Game of Thrones, that she has that moment where she fucking kills, like
Bella?
stops the the ogre or the
Yeah.
giant, whatever.
That's a great show. That's
I
awesome.
feel like they're setting Helena up to have a moment like that.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll have a
Oh,
nice
like
death.
Abby. Gotcha. Gotcha. Yes. I know you're
You
talking
know,
about.
so maybe she'll have like a really like a death that's gonna be satisfying for the audience when she finally does go. Um,
Oh, yeah, I can definitely see that. They don't. Yeah, these characters are just all of them are casualties. But Helena is one of my favorites. So even if she does get cut off, that would be sad. Plus, she's good looking.
she's
You
a
know I'm vain. You know I'm shallow.
Aw, yeah, and again, just talking about things I'm looking forward to. I definitely want to see where, like I said, we know Bela. I'm like, go ahead, girl. I'm ready to
They
see
are
you step
beautiful.
up.
Damon's kids are gorgeous.
I'm ready to see what she's got. I'm really looking forward to that. And we didn't talk much about Mr. G. Wayne, Mr. Gwaine Hightower, who was in this episode, the Allison's brother.
We did, but not a lot. You're right,
No,
not
no,
a
no.
lot.
But I mean, just we didn't say like what we think. We didn't like. We don't love him, so we didn't talk much like about where
I
we
like
see
her.
him in the
I
future.
like him, and he sees
Okay,
the bullshit. He sees the bullshit in the whole situation. He sees
so
the bullshit with his sister. He's yeah. He said like, "Wow, you ascended to be the hand really quickly, like in record time." Like he sees like he might not actually. And you're right. You talked about it with the handkerchief. He sees how slutty his sister's being and shit like that. Like, and not because she's a woman, but because she is throwing her pussy around for no reason. Well, not for
hey,
reason.
no
Yeah,
reason's a good reason.
actually, you're right. Yeah, I take that back. That was a folly. But
Yeah,
he's another one. He's another one for the show The Great, and he's really funny on that show. And I can and he does. He's that kind of actor. Even when he's being serious, he has like a kind of fun appeal to him. So I'm excited that he's on the show.
right. Yeah, I'm like he's someone who's like a sleeper. Like he might be someone real fun to watch.
I agree.
Like soon, But yeah, I don't want to keep us too long, so I think we could wrap up this episode of the small council meeting. I didn't even get to welcome everybody to our small council meeting,
It's
but
okay.
yes, cheers to you guys. Cheers, cheers, cheers. We love you guys. Thanks
Get
for
your
watching.
get your honey wine. Get your honey
Okay.
wine.
Oh, cheers. I got to sip. So yeah, guys, tune in. We'll be here next Wednesday at 10. We got Mr. Still Vinsane. Vince, where can everybody find you?
You just type in STILLVINSANE, Still Insane. I show up pretty much everywhere. I have stillvinsane.com. I have my link tree so you can see our podcast. You can see our web series on Robert Mercado World also. Yeah, man, we talk about a lot of pop culture stuff, and now we're getting into deep dives into show reviews, which is perfect because I love talking about television and film all day long. So this is a great extension of our brand.
Yep, yeah. I'm excited. So yeah, I'll be there. We may be coming back next week. I think Monday at 10 p.m. Also maybe earlier. We'll keep you posted. Follow us so you can see those times and subscribe. Follow, subscribe, do the things. Like, comment, share means the world to us. And I'm
And
Robert
thank you to our
McDonald.
X audience. This is our first time live streaming on X, and it did very well. This was like one
Yeah,
of our
we'll be
biggest
back.
audiences.
We'll be back on X for sure. I think X
Thank you.
definitely
Thank
works.
you. I thought Tucker Carlson was the only one who got fucking ratings on X, but now we're in that echelon.
That's right, we are. Hey,
Uh,
yeah, thank you everybody for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'm Robert Mercado. You can find me at Robert Mercado World on all the
Boom.
platforms. I'm on Instagram, mostly on Instagram. I'm here on Twitter. I have a YouTube channel, Robert Mercado World.
And on IMDb.
I am on IMDb. I'm an actor. I'm a filmmaker. So I love to break these things down with Vince. Our show is really fun, talking crap about pop culture.
True.
And yeah, and
A
if you
very
like
good.
this,
That is a good elevator pitch for the show, to be honest. Can't believe I
right?
never really said that.
No, so yeah, so I'm looking forward to. I think with this kind of show, I think it just shows like more of what you and I could do. So I think this was a good setup for, I think the boys. I would love to do the boys too,
Sure.
but
I got to catch
look,
up, but I will. I will. I'm
I
down.
think
That's a
I'm an
great one to do
episode
with you guys.
behind. So maybe we'll find the next
That's
show
my
that's like
homework. That's my
that we're
homework.
like,
I got you.
yeah, or maybe we'll do an end of this season for the boys.
Sure.
Like once we do, we'll talk
Oh,
about it. But yeah, so there's more to come, folks. So just stay
well,
tuned. Okay.
this is probably going to end before the boys, so maybe we will have time. We'll see.
Yeah, so yeah, stay tuned. We love Westeros and we love talking all that crap about it. So if
Thank
there's
you, thank
anything,
you, Queen Mercado. Thank you, Queen
yeah,
Mercado.
yes, leave us any comments on any platform that you're on. If there's anything you want to see from us, we'd love to hear the feedback. And
Subscribe to both
yes,
of our channels, please.
please, we appreciate you. Thank you. It's heavy is the head that wears the crown. But Vince's head is heavy enough, trust me. So
It's
heavy
true.
is the head that wears the wigs too.
It's true. That's why I was late. I couldn't get my head through the door.
Okay, all right. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you. We'll see you next time.
Boom.
Dun, 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 bum, bum.
Right. I gotta get an outro. I know I should get an outro.